Okay.
One,
One,
two,
two, one,
three,
two, three.
book.
Leaf. Oh, book and leaf. One,
And two. One,
one,
two,
two,
three,
three. Page.
page.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, we're
Oh my
live.
God, keep that in. Keep that in. No one will
Yeah.
believe it.
Hello, hello, hello. You're listening to the interviews for the Liverpool Improvisation Festival. I have on the line Emily Rose.
Hello, Hal Munger. How are you this morning, afternoon, evening?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited because this is the first interview of the festival, and I can't wait to ask you a couple questions about the wonderful show you're bringing.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I love Liverpool, but I've only ever been as a tourist, so I'm looking forward to coming with my improv hat on.
Okay, well, we're going to get into some Liverpool specific stuff in a little bit, but the question I'm starting with everyone on is uh, one of the shows here that the ensemble is doing is themed around the idea of ancestors. And
Ooh.
I thought it'd be cool to ask you about your improvisational ancestors of people who have inspired you as an improviser, or like what kind of stylistic background you come from, or what local cultural background you're bringing to the festival, where you're coming from.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I mean, I probably like a lot of people you'll interview, I was obsessed with Whose Line Is It Anyway when I was growing up.
Hmm.
I grew up in Essex and I had a TV in my room that only showed DVDs in green. So like I had the first season one of UK Whose Line Is It Anyway with, Josie Lawrence and um like all of that amazing lot of people, John Sessions, and I watched it like all the time in green. And so it's funny, I actually ended up going to university partially because of the University of Nottingham having an improv society.
Oh, wow.
Like it was also, a great degree and whatever, but it was part of the thing that made me feel at home on the campus so quickly. So my first love was always musical improv.
Hmm.
I think again because of the like Whose Line Is It Anyway short formy style. So I've yeah, Josie Lawrence was a huge inspiration to me, and I actually got to do some workshops with her at the Remix Musical Improv Festival. And I only freaked out a little bit. So that was really, really lovely. But then what from there, I sort of, had that lineage of like being in a university improv society and you're being taught improv by someone like, when you're 18, they're 20, which seems so experienced and so old. But I was really lucky because I was able to sort of segue from student improv to improv in the city of Nottingham,
Hmm.
where I worked with companies like Miss Imp and Rhymes Against Humanity. So people like Nick Tyler, Marilyn Bird, Lloydie James Lloyd, who's like a phenomenal musical improviser. So yeah, I think it's kind of a mix of like aspirational people where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe like I'm never going to get to meet this person, but they're so cool. And then like still very cool people, but people who are actually just really active in the community.
Hmm. Well, that's wonderful. Is um I guess moving into your show that you're bringing, can you tell us a little bit about it, and if there's any influences of that background that you're bringing in, what those are?
Yeah, so Play It Again is myself and Sam Marshall, and it's an improvised lounge act. And the premise of the show is that we are playing Emily Rose and Sam Marshall as immortal demons cursed forever to regale the world with lounge music. Um, and I kind of got the idea for it during the pandemic because at the time, Sam and I were both in Rhymes Against Humanity, which is Nottingham Midlands kind of big improv team, musical improv team, which I loved. And I just kind of wanted to do a bit more musical improv, and I wanted to do it on a slightly smaller scale with a slightly smaller, like pl- more sort of trying to think of the right way to put it. Like, I think Rhymes Against Humanity was narrative, long form improv.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, I kind of want to do something that's still musical, but like the opposite of that. So rather than this kind of big ensemble musical, it's me and Sam on stage as like caricatured versions of ourselves, just doing songs. And it's funny talking about like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Because it is almost quite like short formy, like we have a different idea for each song and we get suggestions from the audience and then we sing the song. Um, so it really kind of, yeah, I guess it kind of sparked out of both of that like aspirational side and the actual like responding to what we were doing and what the community around us was doing.
Okay. I gotta ask, what is it like to play a demon version of yourself? Or,
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, I mean, Sam is so talented. He can play the piano and improvise songs at the same time. I just sort of sing. I say like, oh, he plays the instrument, I play the crowd. But that is not true. He's just as he's phenomenal. And so it's really like you have a lot of fun with it. Like you sort of have an immediate rapport with yourself and the audience and the other performer. You kind of because it's also sort of in a veneer of lounge, so it's very sort of suave and a bit sexy. So you kind of take parts of yourself and then like exaggerate them. So for me, I just flirt outrageously with any woman in the audience, like who I find vaguely attractive. I'm just like, yep, cool. Especially if they are like romantically involved with one of the organizers of the event, then I will just sort of beeline. Um, but I think one rule we do have in that kind of dynamic is I really didn't want it to be like two beings that were fated to work together forever and they like resent each other. Like, I just don't find that very funny. I think the idea is that we are kind of like, yeah, we are a team, like across history. We've worked together for millennia, like all across history. And it's like a very healthy, like non-romantic relationship. Well, it's not healthy, but it's not confrontational. Like, and because I just don't think that's funny. And I think if it was funny, the joke would wear thin very quickly.
yeah. Well, did you discover that through trying that? Or was it right from the beginning? You were like, I know that I want these characters to like each other.
Yeah, no, it was pretty. We went in I think, oh my God, when did we start? I want to say like 2022, 2023. Um, and we talked about it a lot before we did it because it was the pandemic. It was an idea for a while. Like one of my big inspirations for it was the Bo Burnham special Inside. Like I really wanted to explore musical like songs that were funny but not in a sort of like Avenue Q way, if that makes sense. Like a sort of a very like a bit slower down, a bit more like introspective, which only somewhat ended up happening, but that was kind of like one of the starting influences.
Okay. Were there any surprising challenges or joys that came up in the process that were you thinking, this is a very memorable moment in creating the show?
Oh, that's a great question. I think there was actually, yeah, so one example was we don't plan who starts the songs, but because Sam is literally playing the piano, I normally start the songs because it's easier for me to like set the melody and like kind of set the theme for the song or the game of the song. And then let Sam join in on like the chorus or have a verse. It doesn't always happen like that, but that tends to be the way that we work. And one time we got like, so not to spoil the show, but one of the songs we do is like, oh, we want to do a James Bond song. We've never been able to do a James Bond song. What is a film that you would like to hear a James Bond song about that is not a James Bond film? So like we've had Finding Nemo, Jurassic Park, Jumanji, like all sorts. Wallace and Gromit, The Wrong Trousers was my favorite. But occasionally we get one and we just don't know what we're doing. And you don't know the film and that's part of the game. But I remember, I think it was at Hoopla. I said that a bit weird. Hoopla, hoopla, hoopla. They gave me a film and I think it was Jaws. And I was a bit like, oh, I don't quite know how to start a song about like the James Bond of Jaws is the shark. Like how do you quite, and it was just taking me a second. And so I just started like narrating the opening titles of what you'd see. Like I think I sort of went like, oh, you see, a woman swimming in the sea, and then she's dragged down into a circle, and then the circle becomes the bullet, and it just sort of became this. It had a really nice rhythm to it, and it ended up like painting it really well for the audience, but then also actually giving us a bit of time to like find the song, find the theme of the song. So yeah, I think one thing that's developed and that I'd like to develop a bit further is sort of like the storytelling side of it, and not necessarily like the singing side of it. So yeah, that was like a kind of, oh, we're on stage and this is happening, and actually that worked really well.
Whoa. So something that happened in one show changed all future shows potentially.
Yeah, and like Hoopla is such a great space to like experiment with that kind of stuff because you've got an audience that's such a great mix of improvisers who are like really supportive, um, and also, punters in off the street who are just going to laugh at something if it's funny. So yeah, it's a really nice mix.
Okay. Moving it more broadly away from the specific show and onto yourself as a performer, I was wondering, is there anything very special about the way that you improvise, where you're like, this is a thing that I want to put out into the world that people should
Oh,
know?
one thing I've realized over the past few years, actually, so I do quite a lot of big ensemble charactery shows. So I do a show called Murder She Didn't Write, and the shows with spontaneous players. And they both have a really interesting, they're very different. Like Murder She Didn't Write is very narrative, and it's like putting on an Agatha Christie play. And then, you play one character for the entire thing. You're putting together a mystery. There's quite a supportive structure to it. Whereas spontaneous players is like there's three or four of you on stage. You get a title of like at the moment we're doing a Harry Potter parody show, but we're I think exploring new options in this year. So you get a title from the audience, which is normally like Harry Potter and the Dildo of Destiny or something. And then it's the three or four of you on stage, multi-rolling, like accents. But the thing that kind of unites those shows that I've realized I really love is I love sort of the different levels of performing improv, like as a performer. So you've got, your Emily, your Emily Rose, the like the person, and then you're Emily Rose, the improviser, and then you're the character. And I love those moments where you can like have fun with the improviser. So like sort of, go, oh, you know, uh, I remembered you were rehearsing a song. Why don't you sing it for us now? Like where you're sort of playing the game of, oh, it's not just you're getting the character to do something, you're getting the improviser to do something. And I think I've realized that I enjoy having those kind of shows and relationships where you can really trust people to be a bit cheeky with them. And don't get me wrong, I love doing more like straightforward narrative improv as well. And I've had some amazing classes that have been on like dramatic improv. And I think that's such a powerful tool, right? Like it's something they do in both of those shows as well, as they have these real moments of like pathos and emotion to ground everything whilst it's also being very silly. So I think that's quite a long answer, but I think like I would say I enjoy emotionally justified cheekiness.
Emotionally justified cheekiness is
Yeah, yeah.
put that on a t-shirt. Okay, one more question is, what is the best piece of advice you've received in about improv, or any piece of advice that stuck with you, where you're like, oh, this hasn't changed the way you play?
Oh, I mean, I've had so many amazing teachers. I think actually though, like I got in a bit of a rut with my improv a couple of years ago, because I was in a few new big teams, and I was really doubting, like I sort of had a lot of doubt about my entitlement to be in those kind of spaces. And like before, it was my first time performing to like really big audiences. And I realized that I was fixating a lot on my mistakes and not on my triumphs. So like if I said something and the entire, you Theatre Royal in Nottingham like belly laughed, then I would forget it. But if I like flubbed, if I flubbed a line or I stumbled a cue or something, I would like fixate on it for ages afterwards. And so actually, I think one piece of oh God, dare I say, a piece of growth in the past couple of years has just been like the audience tend to remember your successes and forget your failures.
Hmm.
Because I never watch improv and go, oh, that bit wasn't very funny, but I remember like, and I've forgotten all the fun. Like, you remember the funny stuff. So I think that like getting out of your own way and just sort of trusting the audience, having faith in the audience that they're gonna treat you with good faith. I think that's something I was missing for a couple of years, and yeah, it's nice to find it again. And I'm sure I'll find it in Liverpool.
Yeah. That is your answer to this question has inspired me of another question that isn't on the list. But what are some really positive things maybe then that you've heard after a show? We're trying to get people excited to come out and see your show at the Liverpool Improvisation Festival. Has anyone ever come up to you after the show and said, "Oh, I really like this," or what would you dream that people would say? And if your ideal show, what would you want people to say?
Yeah, so one of our songs that we sometimes do is we sing a love song for somebody in the audience whose partner isn't there.
Oh.
So it's like they're still together, but like for whatever reason they are there themselves by themselves that night, or they're with a friend, or their romantic partner isn't there. And I love doing that, especially with non-improv audiences. Like we did it at the Nottingham Comedy Festival, and there was this row of like three women who had clearly just like come in from the bar downstairs and did not really know what was going on. And one of them, bless her, like, put her hand up when we asked for anybody who was here in a relationship, but not with the person who they were with. And she was great. And like people that we've done this a couple of times in Birmingham where people have recorded it.
Hmm.
And like we've sung the song and they've recorded it for their partner. And I love when that happens. I did do it once where I like got down on my knee and said that he was proposing to her, and she got really like, she's like, I can't wait to show him this. So yeah, I love that. Like I love it when you sort of reach people, and again, that comes. I think also we really try and do that in a good faith kind way.
Hmm.
So we're never like, oh, your girlfriend is ugly and why,
Yeah.
it's kind of celebrating them and celebrating their relationship.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you think you've ever impacted a relationship of an audience member in your crowd?
There was one time where I was flirting outrageously in with a woman in the audience who was like I'm not gonna lie to you, Hal, she was stunning. It was like it was definitely a character choice. And then she came up to me and Sam afterwards and she was like, Sam! And it turns out that they were like school friends. And they hadn't seen each other in like a decade, and I was just sort of like, "Oh, hello. Oh, this is your boyfriend. Great."
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I think it's what you said about specifically flirting with people who are in relationships with the organizer, I think is a delightful way to do it because I think everyone knows that it is in the spirit of joy
Yeah, I
and
mean, poor
fun.
Christine Simpson, who organizes Remix Festival in Edinburgh. I was
Full, full
full on
on.
trying to seduce her in front of her boyfriend.
Um, okay. It's a good, always one of those joyous experiences you can only really capture in the world of improvisation. And
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, it sounds like your show almost has some elements of like hyper diva performance. Maybe I'm not understanding these demons correctly. How do you get into that persona? It's another improvised question.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it is a very like diva-ish. I have like a lower voice when I do it. And the thing that I always like, I really wanted like a gender neutral way to
Hmm.
address the audience. Normally, if I have to do that in like a narrative show, I'll sort of say the name of the town that we're in. So I'll be
Hmm.
like, hello, Nottingham, or hello, Liverpool. But when you actually want to do like the equivalent of ladies and gentlemen, like I've yet to find a way that works for me that's really natural. But in that character, I sort of go, good evening, my cats and kittens. And it's amazing how, regardless of gender, people will identify as either a cat or a kitten. Like, Hal, I hope you don't mind me saying, but you strike me as a cat.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say I'm a cat. I'm definitely a cat.
but so like that's always a nice like moment to like I don't know, that's kind of become like my mantra and like a sort of moment to settle in. But it's also a funny one because you can't, it's a format and it's a show where we don't want to over rehearse it. Like we want to keep it like, quite light, and fun. And yeah, I think like there's no, when we warm up, it's more about getting on the same page, like doing mind melds, a few rhyming exercises, a little bit of vocal warm up. But if we have too long, then we tend to get a bit like, oh, now what do we do?
With the gender neutrality of the audience, is it a show that centers queer themes and queer stories, or yes?
Sorry, I'm nodding.
Nods.
Yeah, I mean, like speaking from my experience, I wasn't really expecting it to be that, but I think it has been. Like another song that we get is like we ask the audience to give us like a famous person to sing about from history. And it is a really interesting theme that if it's a woman, it tends to be that she's like my lost love, and if it's a man, I killed him. Like I don't know what that says. But it's been really like not to get too into it, but like kind of exploring my own like sexuality and like, I'm demi-sex myself. So like kind of on the asexual spectrum, kind of on the bi spectrum, and playing like a hypersexualized character has actually been a really fun way to like explore that side of me. And yeah, I didn't anticipate it kind of being like a queer show, but in a lot of ways it has ended up being that.
Yeah, I think improv is a very exciting space to be able to experiment with parts of your identity that you're still processing, and playing different characters on stage before you engage with them in real life, or maybe that you don't even want to engage with in real life. So
Yeah, definitely. And like I think that's like building up trust with the audience is so important. So like those little kind of signifiers like, oh, good evening, my cats and kittens is, it's just a fun way, like you're easing into that yourself as well as easing the audience in.
all right. Last final few questions. One of them is there anything at the Liverpool Improvisation Festival that you're particularly excited about? Where you're like either something about Liverpool or another show you've seen, or
Uh, I do know another show that's in the lineup. I don't know if I should know it yet, but somebody told me. But I know that Improv 2 are doing a new ensemble that Sam is also in. So Improv 2 are two American performers who've come to like the Robin Hood Improv Festival, and they are phenomenal dramatic improvisers. At the last Robin Hood Improv Festival, we directly followed them with our like very silly, spontaneous Harry Potter show after they got like a standing ovation for doing some like nuanced drama. They're phenomenal, and they're expanding out. They're including like Lloydie and Jen Hardy and Sam and a bunch of other people, and I think that's going to be phenomenal. Like I'm really excited for that. But also, I am a huge Beatles fan. So I think one evening I'm going to be trying to get everyone to go down to the Cavern Club and just like, yeah, I think I'm going to be having a bit of a dance.
yeah. Have you been to Liverpool before?
Yes, a couple of times. I actually went to Eurovision in Liverpool when it was on with Sam, actually.
Wow.
I wish that was more of a like origin story, but yeah, that was the year it was the year it was in the UK, so they had that brilliant song about Edgar Allan Poe that I just got obsessed with for like, I'm still obsessed with it now, to be honest.
Oh, it sounds like something that could be in your show, a song about
Yeah,
Edgar
maybe
Allan
I'll just
Poe.
do that.
Okay, so I think we're wrapping up now, but is there anywhere where people can find out more about you online, or anything you're trying to publicize? If people are excited about this artist interview and want to learn more about you as an artist, is there anywhere that they can go?
Yeah, so we've got a Facebook and an Instagram at Play It Again Improv. I'm based in Oxford, Sam's based in Nottingham, so we don't have like a regular performance gig. But we've had like there's so many amazing nights we've performed at, like Midlands Comedy Night in Birmingham, Scoops in Brighton, Smash Night in Nottingham. Um, so there's some I would like point one, I'd be like, oh, we would love to do some shows wherever you are, but also like check out those local, like, small scale shows as well as the big festivals. Like, there's so much great stuff happening all around the country. And yeah, I'm excited to see everything come together. I've never been to the Liverpool Improv Festival before, so yeah, I'm really excited.
It is a real joy. And what you were saying about Impromptu was performing there last year. They were so lovely. All the shows last year, like
Yeah.
it's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see you perform there.
There was a show once I did it when I used to do a Star Wars show, and I the planet where it was set was the planet's it was for, what was the alien on the planet, and they were Scousers. And so I started the show by doing a quote unquote Scouse accent, which was bad, but it was made even worse by the fact that once the show finished, I realized that Scouse wasn't Birmingham.
Oh no.
So I was aiming
Oh
for
no.
Birmingham.
Don't say that on the Liverpool Improvisation podcast. Interviews.
This was like 20 years ago. I was like, I was like six, whatever.
Okay.
I can do a real accent. I can do a good Liverpool accent now, to balance it out.
It'll come in handy. It'll come
Yeah,
in
great.
handy at the festival.
They'll love that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and answering all these questions. I feel like I am very excited to see. I've never heard of a show quite like the one you're describing, and I'm very excited to see it. So,
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you so much for having me.
okay.